What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another vlogging day here in beautiful, beautiful sunny Seattle. Man, look at how gorgeous that blue sky is. That does not happen very often this time of year. So I'm gonna enjoy it. Enjoy the nice walk. It's Thursday, March 23rd, 2017. And today is kind of an interesting day in history. So often in society today, we are caught with all sorts of, as I was saying, so often in society today, and crazy things happen out in the world because, you know, it's a crazy world. But, and it gets put on, you know, the news, and you see all these interesting things like when the llamas escaped and everybody was transfixed with the llamas escaping and evading capture for a little while. I think that was in Arizona. Yeah, I think that was in Arizona. You know, just yesterday in London, there was the truck who run over a bunch of people and the stabbing of the police officer and all these things. And we've kind of turned into a sensationalist society. There's a line in Chicago, the musical, where they say, "This is Chicago, kid. Nothing sells like fresh blood on the walls." And that's very true. The one day you see something and you think you'll never see anything like it, and it's a horrible situation, like the bombings in Paris or the shooting at the mosque in Montreal, or all these different things. But then a few days go by, and after we've consumed that event as a society, we move on because it doesn't really affect us. Today is one of those days where something happened, and most of us probably don't think about it all that much. I'm standing on the corner of Stewart and 4th in downtown Seattle. And that tree right there had a really interesting thing happen to it a year ago. All the way up there on the top, you can see where all those empty branches are there. A year ago today was the infamous ManInTree. So I remember very clearly seeing that on the news, and it broke into coverage, and I was watching on the internet while I was at work while this went down. And the next morning, he was there all night. He broke down a bunch of tree branches up here at the top and made himself a nest, and he'd lay back for a while and nap. And as you can see, these windows right here, there were cops that were in those windows, and they were trying to talk him down. Basically all of the intersection right in here was all shut off so that people couldn't get through. It was a really, really surreal experience. Things like that don't really happen in Seattle. I stood right in this spot, right where I'm at here in this building. So my buddy Tom stood in this corner right here for hours with his phone and a couple of external battery packs to recharge his phone, and just filmed and broadcasted live via Periscope for hours upon hours. It was a really interesting situation, and they'd bring him food, and they tried to give him some food, and he'd have apples, and he threw apples down on the street, down towards on the people, just cussing and swearing at people, and it was just a really interesting thing. Then eventually, at some point, he just climbed right down, and he came down, and it was fast. Like, you'd think he was a natural tree climber with as much as he had done right there. So I'm on the other side now, and that's the tree. And as you can see, the treetop is as tall as the buildings were. It's amazing how quickly he came down. They put him on a gurney, threw him into an ambulance, and off he went. So that was a year ago. As you can see, the streets are the same. Everybody's kind of walking, minding their own business. Life moves on. Every once in a while I think about these things. I think, what happened to the ManInTree? What happened to the people who survived the attacks in Paris and the attack in Montreal. It's amazing. I'm just curious if anybody else thinks about that person, thinks about what he went through and what caused him to get up there into that tree in the first place. It's really interesting to think about. You see these people that have issues and they get put on television because it's an interesting story and they'll sell, but they get their 5-10 minutes or whatever on the news. A couple days afterward, people might be talking about it in pop culture, and then they just disappear. And what are their stories?